Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of the GPSforlove.com. If you were to look back over your relationship history, would you notice that you tend to stay in relationships, or maybe you even stayed in a marriage, much longer than you needed to? If you look back and got really honest, you knew that it wasn't right. You knew you weren't getting the love, honor, and respect that you really desired and that you know you deserved, but you couldn't get out. And there was a whole host of reasons. You loved him. He loved you. You fell in love with that person that he was in the beginning, even though that was years ago. Okay? Today, what I'd like to do is explain to you why you stay. Because remember, there's always, always, always reasons. And so if you have this habit of staying in relationships, thinking that things are going to change, things will get better, that it's going to turn into the relationship you really want, and you look back over your history and you realize that's not how it worked, this is going to be very valuable for you. Because what I want to do today is give you some insight into human behavior and why we do what we do. See, if you go back into that relationship and you get honest, what you're going to notice is that the reason you stayed is because you associated more pain with leaving than you did with staying. And I'm going to say that again. You associated that if you were going to leave, you were going to have more pain. There was more uncertainty. There was a world that you had to go into which scared the hell out of you than knowing what you had in that crappy relationship. There's an expression, the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't know. Well, this is exactly what happens. So you will continue to stay, and I bet if you look back over those previous relationships, you continue to stay until all of a sudden something happened. You hit a threshold. You hit a point where you realized, I don't care how scary it is out here, staying here sucks, and I'm not going to do it anymore. There's an expression Tony Robbins, one of my mentors, uses, is that it takes an instant to make a decision, but sometimes it takes decades to get to the point to make that decision. So this is what I want you to realize, is that you will continue to stay no matter how bad you think it is, no matter how much it isn't what you want, no matter how unhappy and no matter how unfulfilled you are. You will continue to stay until you associate more pain with staying than you do with leaving. So let me give you an example of how that worked. As you know by now, if you've been following me, I was engaged. I was 30 days away from getting married, and I was absolutely miserable. And I was miserable for a good 2.5 years, so it wasn't something that just all of a sudden happened. But I associated more pain with leaving than with staying. And the reason why is because in my mind, the pain was, well, I may never find somebody else. I've shared my story many times. My dad died when I was 15, and my greatest experiences in life were being around my dad and spending time with him and growing up and doing all those great things that fathers and sons do. So when he left, when he passed away, there was a huge void in my life. And so I wanted a son of my own. I wanted to get that back. I wanted to get that great love and connection that I had with my dad, and I wanted to experience it with my own son. And to be honest, my ex-fiance was simply my meal ticket to make that happen. So in my mind, that if I leave, I may never get that. So I'm going to stay and try and make this crappy square peg relationship work. Until ultimately I got to the point where, you know what, I don't care if I never have a son. I don't care if I ever get married. The pain of staying is much greater than the uncertainty of leaving. And when I got to that point, it was literally like a light switch went on. I remember it as if it was yesterday. It was like, well, what the hell are we getting married for? I was willing to throw it away on the possibility. But once I knew in my mind that there was no possibility of the happiness and the fulfilling relationship that I really wanted, I didn't care. It was, I'm done, I'm out of here. And so I want you to do a little homework. Take a little mirror time, as we call it. And I want you to get real with yourself. And I want you to go back and look at your past relationships. Maybe you're in a relationship now. Maybe, it was a past marriage that you stayed in. And I want you to get real with yourself and ask yourself why you stayed and what you were afraid of if you leave. What was the pain that you were associating with leaving? And if you did get out, ultimately realize what it took you to get out. And if you're dating and you're single now, I want you to realize this, is that being in a happy and fulfilling relationship shouldn't be where you're in pain. It shouldn't be where you're consistently upset, frustrated, angry, sad, or depressed. If you are, those are signs from the universe that you're in the wrong place. Now, you can stay because of the pain of leaving, or you can realize that, you know what, I'm going to have more pain. I'm going to waste more time because you can't find that other person if you stay in a crappy relationship. There's an old expression, you can't get to second base with your foot still on first. Okay? You've got to take that leap of faith. And I look back now, if I would have known what I know now, if I would have known it then, I would have left so long ago. And it's not a judgment, it's just an expensive learning lesson. So I believe these things happen to show us what we need to do different. And I really want you to use this video today to help yourself in going forward, so you don't waste any more time on someone who doesn't give you the love, honor, and respect that you deserve. Well, I'd love to hear from you. If you did stay, what were your reasons? What were your pain? Because I guarantee you there are other women watching this now who are now in your shoes. And by sharing, you can help them. As always, it's an honor and privilege. We'll see you next time. God bless.